It's over, but the free agency buzz continues. With that, we bring in Tim Legler. And Tim, what surprised you the most?
Well, Neil, I think there were two big ones for me. I think, first of all, D'Angelo Russell to Golden State. I didn't see that coming at all. I had no idea that the Warriors had him in their sights. And now it makes a little bit more sense because it looks like they may be utilizing him to generate future assets. If that's the case, it makes a lot more sense to me than thinking about a long-term situation where he's there with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and that offense. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. The other one's Al Horford going to Philadelphia because Al Horford has primarily played center in Boston, and now he's going to a place with one of the top centers, if not the top offensive center in the NBA, and clearly he's going to slide over to the 4, so I just never really considered that pairing of the two bigs in Philadelphia. So I'd say off the top of the list, those were the two that really jumped out to me.
All right, those were two you didn't see coming. What was not a headline, but you thought, man, that was a good get?
Well, I think one huge acquisition that's not going to get a lot of talk is Bogdanovich going to Utah. This was a guy that I felt like should be coveted by a number of teams that feel like they're in contention to potentially win a championship next year. You're talking about a guy that shoots at a 40% clip from the three-point line. He's got great size, and he's an elite-level defender. This is a guy that instantaneously makes you better on both ends, and I didn't think the number was going to be something that teams couldn't swallow, and that's the case in Utah. So he goes out there, and now the Utah Jazz are a team you have to take seriously as a Western Conference contender, and Bogdanovich is going to be a big part of that.
Right now, Tim, Vegas likes the Lakers better than anybody else, and that's space that the Warriors have occupied before. So my question is, what roster do you like better right now? The one with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and who knows? Or the one with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, D'Angelo Russell, and who knows?
Well, I'd have to go with the Lakers, I think. You're talking about two of the top 7 players in the NBA joined up, and also Kyle Kuzma as your number 3 right now before you even know who else the Lakers might add. It's not a bad number 3 to have. I just think that star power at the top in a year in which the Golden State Warriors are going through so much, losing Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. We're not exactly sure when he's going to return. So you still do have Steph Curry, a 2-time MVP. You've got Draymond Green, a perennial all-star. D'Angelo Russell joins the mix. But I think the lack of familiarity with Russell playing in that offensive system and just the fact that they've gone to 5 straight finals, you expect a natural step back and maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit. I would favor the Lakers because I think they're going to fill out that roster to be a team that can really contend out west.
And if the Lakers get Kawhi Leonard, forget about it. Tim Legler, nothing but net. All right, most of the big names have already committed, but there is Kawhi Leonard and DeMarcus Cousins are still on the board. Adrian Wojnarowski with some real pointed comments about Cousins and the lack of a market for him out there. Danny Green, who shot 46% from 3 last season, still hasn't decided on a team. Marcus Morris and Kelly Oubre go. The sign and trade official for D'Angelo Russell going to Golden State from Brooklyn, 4 years, $117 million max deal for the former number 2 overall pick by the Lakers before the magic there was lost and Russell became an all-star with the Nets. The Warriors will include a future protected first-round pick to the Nets. All right, how will D'Angelo Russell fit into what the Warriors do? He was 3rd in the league in pick-and-roll plays as a ball handler last season with nearly as many plays as the Warriors as a team. Golden State ranked 29th in pick-and-roll plays, runs. So how's that going to work? Well, the Warriors' offense is predicated by movement off the ball. They led the league in shots on off-ball screens last season. Only 10% of Russell's shot attempts came off the ball. 23% of the Warriors' shots did. So how's that going to work? But that doesn't mean Russell can't get his shots off the ball. He shot a career-high 39% on catch-and-shoot threes, better than league average, and right on par with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Kyle Korver. So that right there, that works. Nick Friedel in person, that's a win already. All right, nobody saw D'Angelo Russell going to the Warriors, yourself included. What is the plan for D'Angelo Russell with the Warriors?
Help us bridge the gap while Klay gets back from his ACL injury. And then, Neil, the key is they didn't want to lose Kevin Durant for nothing. You get D'Angelo Russell in, you see how he does for a year, and then potentially you move him in another piece a year from now, and you build that way. But in the end, when it was lose Kevin Durant and watch him walk away, or get a piece that you can build with potentially, or move for some more pieces down the line, they chose Russell, and they hope that he can grow with Steph and Draymond this season.
Another guy who looks like he's going to grow with the club is Kevon Looney. 3 years, $15 million. Could he have gotten more elsewhere?
Yeah.
So why didn't he? That's what I thought.
Yeah. When you start getting texts from people around the league and they're going, Looney signed for what?
Yeah.
Like, the key is he loves it in Golden State. The Warriors love him. Steve Kerr called him a foundational piece of what they want to do in the playoffs. He's gained a lot of respect internally in the organization, and he's a guy they feel like they can build around moving forward. So whether or not there's a handshake about money coming farther down the line, we'll see. But that was a crucial piece to continue to build for when there's all this other turmoil and turnover on the roster.
All right, Kevin Durant no longer part of the team, but Joe Lacob said this: as long as I'm co-chairman of this team, no player will ever wear number 35 for the Warriors again. Why?
Because they appreciate what Kevin Durant did for them in winning 2 titles, 2 MVPs. But, Neil, this is crucial. This isn't even so much about what Kevin Durant did. This is to show every player we treat our players well with the Warriors. We respect you. We will give you every opportunity to be the best you can be. So not only is it in appreciation of Kevin Durant, this is another sign for the Warriors to show just how crucial it is to treat your players with respect.
Nick Friedel, he's even...
Saw several players move. The Heat completing a 4-team trade to sign Jimmy Butler to a 4-year, $142 million deal. Hassan Whiteside headed to Portland, and Josh Richardson will be in Philly. Klay Thompson agreed to a 5-year, $190 million max contract to stay with the Warriors. Golden State will also bring back Kevon Looney on a 3-year, $15 million deal. That's hockey money. Isaiah Thomas agreed to a 1-year deal with the Wizards. Thomas has played only 44 games over the last 2 years, and this will be his 4th team in the last 3 seasons. And Enes Kanter agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Celtics. Boston lost Al Horford in free agency and traded Aaron Baines, so this helps to fill that void at center. We need to make it all make sense. We're now joined by our Brian
Talking to the wrong
Windhorst.
person.
All right, there's one player out there. He happens to be very popular. He's Kawhi Leonard. Any gut feeling, Brian, where he's going to end up?
Well, I can't tell you, Linda, how many people, owners, general managers, agents, players who are asking this question. This is a huge demand for information. The expectation is that he will meet with the Raptors last, and he has not met with the Raptors yet. That doesn't mean that he will follow through with that. That doesn't mean that he won't meet with the Raptors at some odd hour at some odd place. But I have to be clear here. This is one of the murkiest free agencies that we've had in the last decade, which just means they're doing a good job, and they're keeping their decision close. So I don't think it's going to happen real quick, but honestly, I'm only making an educated guess.
All right, at least the Clippers have some hope. Can't say the same about the New York Knicks, right? I mean, they're fans, and I'm one of them. Very disappointed could not get Kyrie and KD. They are Brooklyn Nets, but the Knicks did make some moves. What do you think about them?
Yeah, you know, they had already moved on by Sunday night. They knew they weren't getting either of the players, and they had lined up these guys that they were going to sign. They'd lined up all the meetings Sunday night to get it done. And they made the decision that they're going to enter into essentially 1-year contracts with all these guys. All their second years are team options, with the exception of Julius Randle. And so they have a lot of flexibility. If some of these guys work out, they can keep him. If not, they can let him go. And they made another decision. They didn't want to take on players that other teams are trying to give away to get draft picks. I know that would have been tempting to do, but they don't want players on their roster who are not helping their young players. They don't want to house anybody's other contract problem. They do have a plan. I've sat there and I've listened to their plan. Their plan may work, it may not, but I do see a coherent strategy that they have. It just happens to be difficult to live in that world right now, Linda, where the crosstown team just got 2 major stars.
All right, now let's think. You said go west, young man. Let's talk about the team in the Western Conference, Brian, that made the best move so far.
Well, I reserve the right to change my mind to the Lakers if Kawhi picks them, because they would have one of the greatest offseasons in history. The Utah Jazz, quietly and efficiently, have been terrific. Getting Mike Conley, then adding Bojan Bogdanovic. Those are 2 starters that are going to help them dramatically. They're going to be one of the best two-way teams in the league, offensively and defensively. This is the type of team that finishes in the top 10 in offense and defense. That's what championship-level teams do. And they went out very quietly and added late last night Ed Davis, quality backup center. Nothing that is going to explode on the front end of SportsCenter with breaking news, but really smart, terrific moves by Dennis Lindsay and his staff.
All right, when there is breaking news here, you'll have it for us. But in the meantime, any minute
or not.
In the meantime, I recommend you get some sleep.
Thank you. I will.
All right, Brian Windhorst with the latest. We're only a couple of days into free agency, and $3.3 billion with a B have already been spent on players. That's already the second most in one summer in NBA history. The most came in 2016 when teams spent $4.1 billion. And coming up, Nick Friedel tells you why the Warriors made the move to acquire